Okay, so we're going to switch gears here and talk about multiplying integers together. And let's just start with something simple. Now, we've kind of already been doing this, but kind of not. So we have two negative numbers, and when we multiply two negative numbers together, we get a positive number. So this is negative times a negative, right? So that becomes positive. And that would be a positive 35. So if I had, for example, 8 times a negative 7, we have a positive and a negative, right? So we end up with a negative number. Negative 56. What if we had three negative numbers? For example, how about a negative 11 times a negative 46 times a negative 24. So we have a negative times a negative, and that's a positive. So this whole thing here becomes a positive number, and a positive times a negative is a negative. And so if we multiply 11 times 46 times 24, we should get negative 12,144. Okay, what if I had 38 times negative 29 times a negative 22? Okay, so we have a positive times a negative, and that would be negative, and a negative times a negative is positive. And so this becomes 24,244. Now, of course, I'm not doing this in my head, right? Wow. I'm not even sure. I wish I could say I could do this in my head. But, right, so I just plugged this stuff into the calculator. The whole idea here is what do we get when we multiply two negatives together, or a positive and a negative? I'm trying to get our signs down. Okay, let's look at a little bit more complicated one. And what about if we had a negative 12 times 32 times a negative 8, and then we said plus negative 12 times negative 8. Alright, well, I'm just going to tell you that the answer is a positive 3,168. So you need to try to get that, right? So we have a negative and a times a positive times a negative. So this is all going to become a positive number. So you're just multiplying 12 times 32 times 8. And then this is a negative 12 times a negative 8. Right? And a negative is positive. So you just have 12 times 8. So we get those two numbers. We add them together, and we should get 3,168. Okay, before I go, I want to talk about exponents. This guy right here can be rewritten as negative 3 times 3. So you can think of this part here as being in parentheses, and 3 times 3 is 9, so the answer is negative 9. However, if I did this and put parentheses around this, what this means is this is negative 3 times negative 3. So notice the difference with the parentheses, without the parentheses. So this becomes 3 times 3 is 9, and it's a negative times a negative. So that becomes a positive. 3 to the 0, any number raised to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so just kind of touching on powers here. Right, so if this was a 5 here, it'd be negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, right? 5 times, and so forth. Alright, go to the website and work on the exercises.